Hi, I'm Danielle. I volunteer as a recovery coach for people devoted to becoming more emotionally and spiritually mature. The video that follows, we talk a little bit in the beginning about my boundaries work paying off at the ashram that I'm living at the time. And then we move into advocating for our wants and needs real time and what that actually looks like in like a practical environment. It's really easy sometimes for us to read sacred texts or words of wisdom that talk in this abstract philosophical sense, oh, surrender, oh, be responsible for your feelings. But what does that actually look like? What should I do or not do? So there's a real gem there. The second half of the video is me affirming to someone who's done some homework around her childhood that her childhood was indeed less than nurturing. And I personally feel that that's so important for us to do because it's really easy to just think like, oh, that's just how it was back then and kind of sweep things under the rug. And it's nice. It's nice to get someone else to go over some of the things that we endured and to get some validations for feeling the way that we felt. So anyways, there's real gems all throughout. You might not want to watch it, but perhaps even just listen to it. And I'm sure if you struggle with any of these issues, you'll get something out of it. Thank you so much. Yeah, so there's two different participants that can come to the yoga ashram, and that's people that are doing, there's only one person doing what I'm doing, which is like part-time work, but then there's people that'll come and they'll stay like as a retreat participant, and then for that they actually get they can do whatever they want whenever they want. They don't have to do anything. And then there's people that live here and they're like considered work study people, and they're the ones like they have to do all the things, so it's I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of like in the middle, which is actually where I usually find my recovery is like what's the extremes of both and where can I get in the middle, so it's nice. Oh, I was not here. It's a good question. Yeah, no, I definitely haven't gotten into any recovery stuff that I was like trying to hope to deal with or whatever. Only because I really didn't have anything like that. I don't know, I just wanted to figure out or experience what life was somewhat like at the ashram and learn more about this particular type of yogic training and philosophy. So, but I feel for me, it's really just more confirmed the recovery that I have, because I really personally feel that my boundary work today, being able to listen to my inner self and navigate for my wants and needs, to overcome whatever resistance comes up in me or whatever small self or just sort of like self-destructive thoughts or feelings or negative thoughts or feelings, or I don't even want to say negative, but just like things that come up that then I have to navigate, like boundaries. So for example, like there's this one girl that like sometimes she'll do something that like for example, she took a shower the other day and left the bathtub like dirty. And it was actually like a bathtub that the guests can use also. And sometimes she just like doesn't like notice things because she's like kind of in a hurry. And so, and I'm like the person like that's supposed to like clean this area. So I knew it was clean. She took a shower and then I looked, it was like filthy. And, today in recovery, I can just go and be like, hey, by the way, you left the bathroom a mess. Can you go clean it? Instead of like, and I've noticed because a lot of other people have problems with her also. And they just run around and like complain about it or get mad about it or tell the supervisor or what, you know, and her and I have actually talked, because she's actually addressed the fact that like she has kind of like a hyper attention deficit thing, where she doesn't sometimes note the impact of her behavior on other people with awareness sometimes. And she's told me that she really appreciates it. Like, if there's something that she does that's like problematic, like I just say what I want or need, you know, and so I don't know, that's a really small example, but like every day like that sort of theme like reoccurs here, and it's nice. It's just nice to be like, I just feel like I'm kind of floating through life, you know, like using my my recovery work, so it's good. No, it is, exactly. It's a lot of the small things that, you know, for example, then this happens with this one person and we feel this stuff and we don't say anything, or we don't know what to say, or we don't know how to, or at least me, in my old self, I wouldn't have known how to say to somebody, for example, like this one person the other day, like I started to feel this resentment inside of me. And then I had to like kind of, because I have self-awareness, I could actually just stop and say to myself, like, all right, what's happening? What's going on? And it goes back again to even like your bottom line, right? I don't have to go to this person and say, I asked you this question and then you answered me, blah, blah, blah. And like what I think about this and what I feel about this is blah, 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 or whatever. Instead, I can do all that process in my head, and then I can just go to her. And this is what I did the other day. I told her, I was like, like after a couple of times of this, and it wasn't like I came to her later and talked to her about it. I noted it while it happened. And I said, the next time this happens, real time, I'm going to just change it. So then the next time it happened, I said, I'm feeling micromanaged. Can you just give me the top level of what I need to do? And if I need details, then I can ask you for those or whatever, you know? And like, instead of like in the past, I would have either had this whole process sharing thing that happened with her instead of just asking for a tangible need, or even in the past, I would have like, I don't know, I probably would have done that process on my own and then went to her sometime later, like not actually in the moment, but sometime later I would have went to her and I would have said like, you know, earlier this morning when we were working together, I was feeling kind of micromanaged. So, because like I would ask you what needed to be done, and, you know, you would give me like this level of detail that I felt like I didn't need, or, you know, felt like was like, you know, as if I'm not competent or whatever. Would you mind next time we work together not doing that? But the fact of the matter is that then puts the burden of responsibility on her in the future to be different. Instead of me just saying, how about I, in the future, take the responsibility and ask for what I want or need from that person or myself behavior-wise, instead of putting the responsibility on her even. And it's very hard. I mean, like, at least for me in my recovery, with having someone actually in the moment. Yeah. And it's a really, yeah, it sure is, you know, and even like as I sit here and say it to you now, it sounds to me like this really easy thing. I remember when at one of my previous jobs, I had a guy that would constantly interrupt me, and I really wanted to, like, sometime, like during the day or the next day, or, you know, at some point, like, just go and sit down and have a conversation with him and be like, you know, I notice that you interrupt me sometimes when I'm talking. Like, you know, would you mind, like, trying not to do that anymore or whatever? But I'm like, again, like, and that's actually where this whole thing started for me. Once I realized, I was like, if I were to ask him now at 10 a.m. to stop interrupting me, which he usually does at like the 2 p.m. meeting, right? Then I'm asking him to, in the future, take care of my wants and needs. When in the future, I can just take care of my wants and needs, and if he tries to interrupt me, I can just either put up my hand and say, please don't interrupt me, or I can just not stop talking. You know, like, it's my choice to shut up if someone else tries to talk over me. But, like, exactly. Not only does he have to remember, but then he has to actually be the one to change his default pattern, you know, like. And I can also not even be like a bitch about it too, like, because even if for some reason, like, I started thinking about it, I was like, if real time, let's pretend like that was a thing, and then he starts to interrupt me, and like I don't allow him to, or I put up my hand, or like then it all of a sudden becomes this like personality power play. Especially with a bunch of these ex-military guys that I used to work with. I'm like, you know, I don't even have to be a bitch about it. I can even like be humorous about it. I can be like, at what age exactly is it that I can just interrupt people without there being a consequence? I'm just asking so that I know when I get there that I can do that to other people. Because I, right now, find it rude. You know? Yeah. Right? So, yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have options. Anyway, sorry for going on and on about that. How are you? What's going on? Just read whatever you wrote, yeah. What? Time out real quick. Can I ask you about your feelings? Because we hadn't talked about this for a little bit, but like a while back, part of your work was to write down the emotions that you experience throughout the day and throughout as you do different things. And then really as well, my hope with that would be for you to have transitioned into not just knowing in your head what you're feeling, but also like experiencing those emotions. How was that for you with any of this work? Were you able to get in touch with that? So you're saying right now, because there's the sexual stuff between you and your partner, but you're saying that like as you're doing the work on your history and you get reminded or get a feeling of anything from your childhood, then that's when you start to experience this nauseous feeling? Well, so I guess my question though was, the nauseous feeling that you're feeling is coming up with you doing history work that revolves when you're being reminded of something from your childhood, not any sexual thing that's happening right now. So I personally, there's 6 billion people on the planet and 6 billion ways to enlightenment, right? Everyone can have their own thing. But I personally haven't gone back, so to speak, like into these moments in my childhood and like tried to replay or recreate that situation and like feel the feelings in that moment or whatever. But it's just now I allow myself to feel the feelings about it that I have now. Like I can recognize what I felt then, and just by putting it on paper of like, I realize now that this is what I was feeling at that time, and then really owning the emotions that I have about it now, and then really just being authentic in any of the emotions that come up as they come up. Because for me, for example, if something happens today that then triggers that wounded place in my childhood, I then can engage in dialogue with myself as more of like a child, and go back to that and realize that it has very little to do with this person treating me incompetently, because this person doesn't even know me. So of course it makes sense that they would treat me incompetent because they don't even know me. But like me feeling like all of these emotions about it means that it's my inner child. That's what it means for me today. So then doing the work at that time. So I've never had to actually like go back and like recreate anything from my past or whatever. But then as that, yeah. But yeah, just continuing this work like how you're doing right now is like is for me the starting point. So what and so you're doing the part one, and I don't have the workbook in front of me, and it's like, so this is the person, and then this is what you remember, and this is the then and the now. Especially at 3 years old, like children don't even know how to share toys at three, like, and they don't understand anything, like. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds terrifying. I didn't understand that part. So your mother would do what, and then you'd get in trouble by your father? Like I don't understand what would, like what would you do that would be like, so she'd ask you for some information, and you'd give her that information, and you'd get in trouble. And when they would say you can't be with the other kids because you'll contaminate them, was that like your peers or your siblings or both? Hmm. What? I don't understand. You would say what? And then uh, that's what I'm trying to ask. So like when you were 10 years old, you could say, "Oh, mom, Susie likes Johnny or whatever." And then she would say Susie and Johnny are sleeping together, or she must be good in bed. You mean like she would get up from using the restroom without having wiped and then like wipe in another room? Yeah, I'm glad you can see that. I said, yeah, I'm glad you can see that. Well, first and foremost, just I really want to say thank you for sharing all of that with me. Definitely, yeah, yeah. And the thing is that like when I hear that, I feel enraged. I feel enraged at your parents for not cherishing you. I wish um I could see some pictures of you as a little girl. I'm sure. I mean, children are just so innocent, and I love that. I would actually, I have pictures of me, um, well, and what my thing is with that too is, I actually believe in getting pictures of ourselves, as many as we can, um, and keeping them around the place to be reminded of, how beautiful and innocent and lovable and precious we were as children. Yeah, I'd love for you to share with me any pictures that you have. So I do. I feel I feel enraged at your parents, and then at the same time, um it's like they were really sick people. Like at the same time that I have all this rage against them, and I just want to be like, how the fuck could you treat a child like that? It's just like if they're really sick, like I just feel bad for them. Like I just feel like, and that's not even like the right thing. It's like I just feel like this pain, I guess, um, of like, yeah, and it might be. I mean, I have no idea, but so if you're saying that you can feel the rage, but you also can't feel the sadness. Like, I mean, it's sad. Like when I just think of them as, I mean, they're not my perpetrators, right? So, but it's sad to me. Like I feel so sad that there's people on this planet, at least these two people, that were so spiritually and emotionally bankrupt and dysfunctional that they used you to meet their own needs, you know? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not why you can't feel compassion, because what you feel and you don't feel is you. Um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, neither here nor there. You're saying you don't feel compassion. All you're feeling is the anger and the rage. Because there's some people that wouldn't feel anger and rage, and all they'd feel is absolute compassion and being like, well, they're just so sick and God, like, yeah. When I think about at least my life today and how abundant, you know, the fact that I have so much joy in my life, and because I have healthy boundaries, and really it's my healthy boundaries that enable me to have joy in my life. Um, you know, I think about your parents and I just am like, I mean, I'm disgusted. I'm absolutely disgusted. And at the same time, I just feel so sad that sickness exists. It exists in a lot of people, and I'm just sad that it exists at all, and that other people don't know how to give and receive love, and so yeah, thank you so much for sharing with me, and for me as well. Like I just know that um, everything you said to me reconfirms what we've already sort of been saying, which is right now you've done so much work around your patterns that you've really not operated in the way that you were raised in so many areas. And for some reason, with your current partner, you know, it's like the universe just gave you your kryptonite, where it's like, this is the one thing that you haven't quite worked out yet, you know, and so you're welcome. And it could even be, you know, that you know, you've done so much work around a lot of this that it might even be that sort of the missing piece for you is to just have more of a daily habit of using the tools that you need to. You know, because it is interesting for me. A lot of the people that I work with, for don't have the foundation that you have, where you have this sort of open mind to seeing where the work that we're doing will go, and are really able to. Yeah, but then look at your partner who does psychology too, but like won't self-evaluate. Like I've known several people in psychology. So like, yeah, I think for us to continue this work, and try to figure out exactly where the healing needs to be in this hopefully. All right. So right now we're just gonna get through all of part one. So so right now the assignment that you just did was only the first piece of part one. Okay. So then yeah, you'll just continue with the next piece of part one. Well, thanks for sharing. I will I guess we can text each other and come up with another appointment time. All right. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.